Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're heading to the fictional village of Ambridge from the world's longest running radio soap opera, The Archers. If you're an advanced learner of English, this show is an absolute goldmine for authentic British expressions used in real-life social situations. We're going to listen to 3 specific clips from Pip and Stella's engagement party in a barn, where the dialogue is full of subtle idioms that native speakers use all the time. Let's listen.
Do you want a glass with it?
No, as it comes. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, this place scrubs up well, doesn't it? I wasn't really sure when Stella said the party was going to be in a barn.
This isn't just any barn.
Evening.
Hi, Alice. Have you two met?
No, I don't think so.
Zach, I'm Stella's brother.
Alice.
Friend or family?
Oh, family. There'll be lots of us here tonight.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Actually, Pip, there is someone here who I like.
Is there?
And I think she might like me.
Well then.
But I also think I might have got the wrong end of the stick over something.
Okay.
But if I do something about it and I had it right all along, then that's just going to be so embarrassing for the both of us.
I'd just go for it if I were you.
What's happening here? You causing trouble again?
Oh, I knew it.
What?
Seriously, Stella, I mean, haven't I eaten enough humble pie for one evening? What with Pip's brother and, what's her name, Speedwatch woman?
Linda.
Can't we just forget about it now and have some fun?
No. Because... Oh, do you mind if I tell Zach?
Well, as long as he doesn't tell Mum and Dad.
You just heard those expressions used naturally in the lively and sometimes awkward atmosphere of a rural British party. Did you notice how these idioms help the characters navigate everything from compliments to social blunders? Now let's dive into the details to decode exactly what they mean and how you can use them yourself. Alright, now that you've heard the context, it's time for the breakdown. We're going to look at the hidden meanings and the cultural nuances behind scrubbing up well, getting the wrong end of the stick, and eating humble. Let's get started with our first expression regarding appearance.
Ever feel like you're just on the outside of an inside joke when you're listening to British people talk? Well, today we're going to fix that. We're taking a little field trip to a place called Ambridge, the fictional village at the heart of the world's longest-running radio drama. Our mission? To decode 3 classic idioms that tell you so much more than what's in the dictionary. Let's get into it. Right, so our destination is Ambridge. And, this isn't a real place you can find on a map, but for millions of listeners, it feels totally real. And it's right there, in those everyday chats, over a garden fence or in the local pub, that you find the real secrets of British culture kind of hidden in plain sight. So for anyone who's not familiar, Ambridge is the setting for the BBC's The Archers. And get this, we're talking about a show with over 70 years of history. Just imagine all the arguments, the parties, the quiet little moments that have happened in this place. It's the absolute perfect spot to find out how people really talk. So, why here? What's the big deal about Ambridge? Well, it's because this show is an absolute goldmine for authentic dialogue. It's not some stiff, scripted thing. It really captures how British people actually speak, full of idioms, pauses, and all those little quirks that make a conversation feel real.
So here we are. We've just arrived in the fictional village of Ambridge, and we're about to crash a barn party at a place called Brookfield Farm. Think of us as flies on the wall. We're just going to be listening in as all the social anxieties, the awkward jokes, and the romantic hopes get expressed through some truly fantastic and very British phrases.
Okay, to keep things simple, we're going to zoom in on just one scene. Pip and Stella's engagement party. Right in the middle of all the celebrations, we're going to pull out and decode 3 fantastic expressions that have to do with appearance, misunderstanding, and pride.
Okay, so let's meet the key players for the evening. First up, we've got Zach. He's the brother of the host, and he has a real talent for putting his foot in it. Then there's Rex, who's here nursing a crush and a whole lot of uncertainty. And finally, Linda Snell. She's a big deal in the village, and she takes her job as the local Speedwatch coordinator very, very seriously. And believe me, their interactions are going to be our entire lesson plan for today.
Our first observation kicks off the very moment Zach arrives. He's taking in the whole scene, fairy lights, straw bales, the works. And he opens his mouth with an absolute classic. This place scrubs up well. Now on the surface, that sounds like a compliment, doesn't it? But hang on. Listen a little closer. There's a tiny little sting in there, a hint of genuine surprise that this barn doesn't look like, well, a barn.
He turns to his sister, the host, and says, "Oh, this place scrubs up well, doesn't it? I wasn't really sure when Stella said the party was going to be in a barn." Now, on the surface, that sounds like a compliment. But what is he really saying here?
And here's why that phrase works so well. It's all about the contrast it suggests. It instantly brings to mind the default state of a barn, muddy boots, maybe some hay, the general grit of a working farm, and it pits that against the elegant, sparkly reality of the party. It's a journey from muck to magic, all in one phrase.
So the idiom is to scrub up well, and it means to look surprisingly good after you've made an effort and cleaned yourself up. What's so interesting and kind of sneaky is that you usually say this about a person, maybe someone who doesn't normally dress up. So by saying it about the barn, Zach is basically saying, wow, I was fully expecting a muddy, smelly dump, but you've actually managed to make it look nice.
To scrub up well. It's the perfect thing to say when someone looks surprisingly amazing after they've made an effort, especially if you're used to seeing them in, like, their comfy old sweatshirt and jeans. And this image just nails it, doesn't it? It is all about the contrast, that surprising jump from everyday muddy boots to a sharp, polished tuxedo. The compliment works so well because of that element of surprise. So if someone says this to you, what they're really saying with a bit of a friendly wink is, wow, you look fantastic. And it's a bit of a surprise because I'm so used to seeing you in your normal casual clothes. So the main thing to remember here is the context. This is a funny, slightly teasing compliment that's perfect for a wedding or a big party. And hey, the most common mistake people make is thinking it has anything to do with being clean or washing. Nope, it is 100% about the impressive outfit and the effort.
And this is a perfect example of the art of the backhanded compliment. It works because it creates this huge contrast between what something usually is, messy, and what it is right now. It's just a very British way to say, hey, you worked hard and it looks great, without getting all sentimental about it. It perfectly captures the reality of farm life. You know, the muck and the sparkle, all in one little phrase.
And this gets at something really interesting about the culture. It's a backhanded compliment, sure, but it's one that praises effort without getting all emotional or sentimental. It says, I see the hard work you put in here, which in a lot of circles is actually a much bigger compliment than just saying, oh, this looks beautiful.
Okay, let's shift gears. While Zach is busy handing out slightly insulting compliments, our anxious romantic, Rex, is over in the corner having a quiet little crisis. He pulls his friend Pip aside and confesses he likes someone at the party, a woman named Alice. He thinks she might like him too, but then he drops this absolute gem of a phrase. I also think I might have got the wrong end of the stick over something. You can just feel the panic. He thinks he has completely misread the entire situation.
So he thinks Alice invited him here as a date. But now that he's surrounded by people, he's starting to spiral. Was it a real date or was it just a, hey, come hang out with the group kind of thing? He's absolutely terrified he's got the wrong end of the stick.
And that is our second idiom, to get the wrong end of the stick. It just means to totally misunderstand something. What Rex is terrified of is that Alice invited him for a drink just as a friend, but his hopeful brain interpreted it as a date. If he acts on it, it could be hugely embarrassing for both of them, and this one little phrase just perfectly sums up all that anxiety.
So the phrase is to get the wrong end of the stick. And it basically just means you've completely misunderstood what's going on. Picture two people talking, but one of them has grabbed onto the conversation from the total wrong angle. That's getting the wrong end of the stick.
Now this is the really fun part, where this phrase might come from. One theory is pretty simple. You're grabbing a walking stick and you accidentally grab the muddy end instead of the handle. It's a simple, messy mistake. But the other theory? Oh, it's so much better. It comes from Roman public toilets, where they used a communal sponge on a stick. Let's just say that grabbing the wrong end of that particular stick would be a significantly more unfortunate error. Either way, you get the picture. A messy, awkward failure of understanding.
So where on earth does a phrase like that come from? Well, there are two main theories. The first one's pretty straightforward. Imagine you're out for a walk and you grab your walking stick, but you accidentally grab the muddy end instead of the clean handle. Awkward, messy, a clear mistake. The second theory is, well, it's a bit more gross. It might refer to a sponge on a stick that was used in Roman communal bathrooms. And grabbing the wrong end of that would be a significantly bigger problem.
Now this is where it gets really interesting culturally. Just look at the difference here. Saying you are wrong feels pretty direct, kind of confrontational, right? But saying, I think you got the wrong end of the stick, it's so much softer. It cleverly shifts the problem away from you are wrong to there's been a misunderstanding, which means nobody has to feel defensive.
For instance, imagine someone thinks they weren't actually invited to the party. You could say, no, you've got the wrong end of the stick. Of course you're welcome. Everyone is. See? It just instantly diffuses any tension and makes them feel totally at ease. It's such a brilliant, indirect way to correct someone. And for our final stop at the party, we're going to move from correcting other people to correcting ourselves. This one is all about pride. And that slightly painful moment when you have to admit you were just completely wrong about something.
So Zach makes a joke about her not wearing her high-vis safety vest, and Linda, who is dead serious about her work, is not amused at all. She just freezes him out, saying it's not a very grown-up thing to do. The banter has crashed and burned. A social crime has been committed, and now Zach has to beat a hasty retreat and apologize. A little while later, we overhear him complaining to his sister Stella after he was forced to go and make things right with Linda. He says, "Seriously, haven't I eaten enough humble pie for one evening?" And there you have it, our third and final idiom for the night.
And there it is, banter limit exceeded. Zach has just committed a major social foul. He tried to be funny with a high-status, very serious person about the one thing she is most passionate about. He didn't just cross a line, he pole vaulted over it.
At this point, there's only one escape route for Zach. He has to eat humble pie. And this isn't just a quick, oh, sorry. This means he has to make a full, groveling apology, admit that he was completely and totally wrong, and basically lower his own status to fix the social damage he's caused.
And listen, this isn't just about being wrong. It's about having to admit you were wrong, especially after you were really arrogant or overconfident about it in the first place. It's literally the act of swallowing your pride.
This phrase actually has a fantastic origin. It comes from something called humble pie, which was a medieval dish made from the umbles, the innards and organs of a deer. While the lords and ladies in the castle got to eat the fancy venison, the servants ate the humble pie. So to eat humble pie literally means to accept a lower status, which is exactly what Zach does when he later calls himself an idiot in front of Linda to try and smooth things over.
Here is a perfect example from our engagement party scenario. Let's say someone was gossiping, totally sure that Pip and Stella would break up. Well, now they have to take it all back. You can almost feel the reluctance in that phrase, I suppose I'll have to.
And that reluctance is absolutely key. The grammar itself tells the whole story here. People don't usually choose to eat humble pie. They have to or they're forced to. This little linguistic quirk really shines a light on a cultural value. Admitting you were arrogant is a necessary, if uncomfortable, social reset.
Okay, so our field observations at this little party have turned out to be a gold mine. But before we wrap up our findings, we have to check back in with Rex. Did his evening end in social victory or total defeat?
And look at that. He actually confronts his fear, asks Alice if she meant it as a date, and she says yes. So it turns out he had the right end of the stick the entire time. His use of the idiom wasn't really about a misunderstanding at all. It was a way to protect himself from getting rejected. It was basically a shield for his own vulnerability.
Here are the key takeaways. You use to scrub up well when something or someone looks surprisingly elegant. The tone is kind of affectionately surprised. You use to get the wrong end of the stick when you're worried you've totally misunderstood something. The tone there is anxious or corrective. And you use to eat humble pie when you have to apologize after being a bit of an idiot. The tone is, submissive and regretful.
These three phrases really give us a glimpse into what we're calling the Ambridge mindset. When it comes to appearance, compliments can be teasing. In a conflict, corrections are gentle and indirect. And when you're wrong about something, arrogance gets checked by a big slice of humble pie. It's a fantastic little window into a whole style of communication.
And so we leave our party in Ambridge, hopefully with a much better feel for how these phrases actually live and breathe in a real conversation. And maybe a question for you to think about. Which idioms do you use to navigate your own social anxieties? Because when you get right down to it, that's what so much of this is really about. Good party, isn't it?
All of this just goes to show that language is so much more than just a string of words, isn't it? It's this complex game of status and vulnerability and social connection. Which leaves you with a final thought to chew on. What are the unspoken rules that govern your conversations? So there you have it, 3 idioms that are like a secret key to unlocking a bit of British culture. They show this preference for teasing compliments, soft corrections, and humble apologies. So the question for you is, which one are you going to try out first?
Thank you for watching our exploration of advanced British English through the latest events at Meadow Farm. If you found this lesson helpful for your English studies, please like the video, comment below with the idiom you found most useful, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our future content. Thank you for your support.